Says I'm live again. See if you can refresh that.
There you go.
Is it the right orientation?
Yep, it's right there.
Okay. All right. Looks good.
Here's the remote.
Okay. We got zero people.
Log on the motorhome and get on there.
Okay. All right. I think we're good to go here. Um. Yeah, I was just gonna have a little talk about some brake pads. Will you hand me that brake pad too? You're on the
I know.
you're on the feed.
I know. Just for
Will you hand me that brake pad? That one right there. Just in case we get to it. All right, I was just gonna talk about brake pads and what kind of brake pads you guys put on and what are the best brake pads out there. Shop's a little mess. I just got done working and my brother's working on his GMC Terrain. That's the one I did the brakes on, and then I also turned the rotors, but it has a broken arm. I don't know if the arm is still here. Yeah. So it's this, where this piece bolts to is all rusted away. So we're just welding in some new pieces so he can drive it. His pickup's in the shop at the body shop, and it's taking him longer than expected. So I got the brakes done, but we got to fix that because the back tire is kind of chopping away and it's not attached properly to the body. So not sure what we call that arm, but yeah. So I just got done, and then that truck over there, they want the trailer plug to work, but there's something wrong because there's no blinkers, there's no stop lights. There is a trailer brake, the electrical connection for the brakes that is working. But then I found out the relay for the park lamps for the trailer plug was missing, so I put it in there, and sure enough, I got park lamps now. But something's wrong because when I went to go shut the lights off, the lights wouldn't shut off. So that's why the relay's pulled, and I don't know because I was looking at the wiring diagram, and they're not hooked into the truck's tail lights. So it must be the body control module is commanding that relay on, or it's backfeeding, or they got the wires. The wires are they connected into the wrong wires and they got them hooked together. But that still went back. I don't think that would backfeed and turn the pickup lights on, but it does. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to fix that one. If I do, it's going to have to be a little bit here and there, and I don't know. I don't know what to do right now. So tomorrow's oil change day, so I'm going to have to back that out. Let me get I don't know what Michelle did with my book. It's right here in front of me. So let's see how many cars we got for oil change. Yeah, I got to do oil changes tomorrow on Friday. So I had F350, 2008 Malibu, 2021 Ford Explorer, and then I got a Cobra Mustang coming in for a built, check over, and possibly a wheel bearing. Yeah, hopefully, I don't know if you guys could hear that truck going by. Yeah, I got welding splatter all over me. But I might have to shut the doors if like the outside noise. Hey Michelle, how you doing? Did you hear that truck go by? Was that annoying or not? So yeah, my brother's gonna come back and he's gonna help me clean up the shop because he went home. I told him I didn't want any like grinding and cutting when I was on my live feed. So he went home to go cut some of the rest of the pieces of steel. And I don't know if I get to it, we can walk over there because I got this thing on mobile set up and we got to, we're welding to basically rust. So, and my welder's not the greatest at all. And I'm not the greatest welder either, but we got to clean up the welds and then probably weld again. And we got to put in some support brackets. And yeah, so I can't do that during my time. So we started on late in the day and, he'll come in tomorrow because I'll just be using that hoist tomorrow for oil changes and stuff. So, and then we got oil changes on Saturday. So we got a few lined up for Saturday. I got a transfer case service. It's a drain and fill. An older, like a 1998, I think, Ford F-150 two-wheel drive for an oil change. Like a 2018 Toyota Highlander, I think it is, for an oil change. And then after that, we got to go to a birthday party for my neighbor. She's turning 60. And then Sunday, I got to make some vinyl decals for a guy. So I did see somebody dropped off their car and they're not on my appointment schedule book. And that car is here for it. It doesn't start up right. And the lady's father thinks it's the starter or the battery. So I guess I got to work another one in tomorrow. Yeah, it's not on the schedule, Michelle. I can't say it's the red Dodge Grand Caravan out there. So somebody didn't put that one on the schedule, and that somebody was me. But people call me, I get call after call, and then I'll forget to put them. What's a Dodge Journey? Well, same thing. But I get so many calls, and then I'll forget to put them in my appointment book. And I got the pencil right here for the appointment book. So yeah, I wanted to talk about brake pads. And let me look up the guy's name that left me some comments, and he's only half right. I got a comment here I need to respond to, but I'll do that later. I don't know if I want to call this guy out or not, but he's done writing me comments. But you see this brake pad? You see how thin it is? And then here's the squeaker, this little thing right here. So this guy says that this squeaker will only squeak. Oh, I see somebody else is coming now. I may have to go take care of that outside, depending upon who it is. The guy in the comments says that this squeaker will only squeak when the brakes are not applied. Well, this pad was on a Toyota, or was it a, no, it was a Honda CRV. And this pad would only squeak. This squeaker would only squeak when I applied the brakes. And I don't know if I was like doing a fast stop or not, but it would only squeak when I applied the brakes. Well, it's got these two things, and that pulls the pad out, and this pad was not rust jacked. It was free in there. So the only way this squeaker could squeak is as if you have to have pressure on it. So the guy said it wouldn't squeak. What's up?
I was doing this pump change and we broke the tip off.
You want to go back into a box back there on top? Have him go back there with you. There's spark plug wires back there. Yeah, so got a customer that just came in and he he pulled the inside out of his spark plug wire. So I got a bunch of used ones on hand, and he can have one of those. They're back there looking for him right now. I think there's 2 boxes of spark plug wires back there.
Okay.
Yeah, I keep everything unless I know for sure it's bad. If it's bad, then I throw it. Or if I don't think I can use something off it, that's the only time I'll throw it. So I'm kind of a hoarder. I keep everything, but we are open to 8 o'clock, and that's why this guy showed up. But I decided I want to do my live feeds at about 7. So that is, I got to get back to the comments part here. So, yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. So this will squeak when you're applying the brakes. And on this particular pad with these are retracting clips. They retract the pad back when you and this is the inside pad, so they retract the pad back when you let off the pedal ever so slightly. Yeah, look how thin that is. I think she's about just less than 1 millimeter thickness. So the only way this is gonna squeak is if it's up against the rotor, and in theory that's at the same level as the braking material. So when this is working right, this cannot squeak when it's when you let off the brakes, because it could if it was rush jacked and then it slid forward a little bit, then it could squeak when you let off the brakes. But that wasn't the case on this one. It wasn't rush jacked. The pad was in there freely. The car did have, let me look up the miles on that one. It was a simple, all I did is pad slapped it. I'm gonna look up the miles real quick. So I just pad slapped it. She didn't have very much money. She thought all her brakes were bad. The 2017 Honda CR-V, 215,000 miles. And these are Honda pads, so either the original or it was somebody put Honda pads in, like the dealer or a shop. So I put DFC pads in it. They're really good. On the Malibu I did yesterday, the 2020 Malibu, I did go AC Delco pads. So I like to go with good pads, and the DFCs are good, and they're the same price for every car. So it looks like they found a spark plug wire. So I'm just gonna give that spark plug wire. I know the kid. And he's learning, so next time they'll twist the wire and make sure they don't pull the terminal off the wire. I don't know what they're working on that has a spark plug wire, but that's pretty interesting. And it looked like a 7 millimeter wire, so I think he's got a Pontiac Bonneville with 3800. But wouldn't that have 8 millimeter wires on it, or are they still 7? I can't remember. And it just sounds like that car they're driving was a Ford Taurus, and it needs brakes. So maybe they'll be back. I've been doing a lot of brake jobs, so like 2 a day. Let me look back here in my invoices. Hey Leisure, how you doing? We're talking about brakes today. And I'm getting a lot of brake jobs in. Yeah, it just has their name, not what I did. So I think I got a couple more brake jobs lined up next week. Yeah, we're supposed to be getting some storms here. I got the doors open. It's supposed to be really... Oh, that's a newer Impala. I thought it looked like a Ford Taurus. Yeah, it sounds like the brakes are bad on that. And that one did sound like it was squeaking when it was off the brakes. So like I say, it goes both ways. And this Honda, with these retracting clips on the pad, so this pulls the pad back, and it wasn't rush jacked or nothing. So how can the squeaker squeak if this retracted the pad? It can't. Only way this can squeak is if you applying pressure on it, and that's what makes this squeaker squeak. So the guy said that when you apply pressure on the pad, that it silences it because the pad vibrates. Well, that's not true. This thing vibrates and screeches when it hits the rotor, the little squeaker. So I don't know. I didn't want to argue with them, but I did. It was kind of half misinformation. This car definitely did squeak when you applied the brakes, and it did not squeak when you let off the brakes. That's because these retracting clips were doing their job. Yeah, if the pad's just floating in there, they can squeak when the pad material is good. And back in the day, I'll go get it. So back in the day, that's what we used to do when the pads were just sitting in there with like the Chevys, the old Chevys, like the metric, like a 1980 Monte Carlo. The front pad just sits in there, so we'd glue that into the caliper, and then that would cause the pad not to vibrate in there. So I learned that to use this stuff, and this stuff, I think this is just a Napa brand of CRC that Napa gets it on there, so they get to sell it with their name on it. But you can get this that doesn't say Napa on it, I do believe, and it's just a high temperature silicone glue, and it works really good. I actually had to use it on the squad car with the Brembo, the 6-piston Brembos, because those pads, I put them in there, you know, just how you're supposed to do it. But they came back the next couple days and said the brakes were squeaking, and I'm like, okay. So I chamfer the pads. One of the tricks we used to do is chamfer the edges of the pads, and that would help. But that helped a little bit. So then they came back again, and so then I just took the glazing off the rotors, and then I glued them pads into the Brembos with this stuff. They have not been back for squeak since, and I just drove it last week and it's not squeaking. I just seen them go by today and it's not squeaking. So they told me they like to sneak up on people at night, and the loud brake squeak would heighten awareness of the person they were sneaking up on. And I don't like squeaky brakes anyway, so I fixed all that for free. I did check the pads, and they're down to about a quarter thickness left. So if I went and got I'll go get my brake thickness gauge. So I would say that Tahoe police car is about 6 millimeters, 5 to 6 millimeters left. So it does have like 25,000 miles on them since I put them in. So I think we're gonna get right around the 30,000 miles, maybe a little bit more, just like the original pads. But I put Napa Fleet pads in it because the GM pads were like $348 my cost. And I called the chief, and he said, no, that's pretty expensive. Is there another option? I said, yeah, there's Napa Fleet pads are the only other option I had at the time. So we put those in there, and I put the Fleet pads in my motorhome, and they're doing good. But I have since then talked to my rep that handles the DFC pads, and he says that the DFCs are for fleets, and he can get me those for the squad car. I don't believe him, but we'll see when time comes. And the next time, since I turned them rotors and it is a police patrol vehicle, I will replace the rotors. So let me get my comments back up here, make sure I'm not missing anything. Yep, the newer Impala. I think it's his girlfriend's car. My landlady's daughter ignores the squeaker. She lets me know when the brakes are grinding. Yeah, so a lot of times, I'm going to guess 50% of the times I do a brake job, it's grinding. The other times I do a brake job is because either, like this lady noticed a horrendous squeal, or when they come in for an oil change and I look at the pads and I'll tell them, like, hey, you got this much left of your brake pads, and I don't know if you can go a week or a month, but you want to think about getting some brake pads replaced. So the other thing I noticed, like, let's say their pads are at, let's say they're at 5 millimeters. Okay, so that's in the yellow. I will not tell somebody that when they bring the car in for an oil change. If they get an inspection, of course, I'm going to tell them what the brake pad thickness is. But if they come in for an oil change, because this is what I learned, if their pads are 5 millimeters, that can go a while yet. And you know, it's in the yellow, so it doesn't have too much time left, depending upon how they drive their car. But I will not tell somebody unless they're down to almost, I would say where I start telling people that they're going to think when their car comes in for an oil change, I'm talking about, it's going to have to be pretty low, like less than, right between 3 and 2 millimeters. That's what I tell them, because if you tell somebody and they got 5 millimeters left that the brakes are bad, well, they think about that all the time in their head, and they're like, man, that guy told me my brakes are getting low. They're not bad yet, but then they'll come in. They want to come in early and get them done really early. They could go a little bit longer. Ford told my mom that her brakes were bad on her. I don't know if she has an Escape. I think it's an Escape. But they were at 50% or better when they told her that her brakes were bad. So I bring her car in and I'm like, no, Mom, you don't need brakes. Well, they said I need brakes. So it was always on her mind, and it worried her. And, you know, another year went by and she would skip an oil change with me and go to them. They would tell her brakes were bad, but they weren't bad. So finally she's just like, well, they're saying they're bad. You're saying they're not. It's on her mind. And we just ended up replacing them, so she wouldn't have to think about it anymore. But they didn't need to be replaced. But Ford told her brakes were bad, so she had to get her brakes. You know, I don't know if I could hear the brakes on the race car squeal, but I don't glue them in there, and they fit in there kind of loose. And we turned the rotors down extra thin. They're like paper thin on the inside. They're a little bit thicker on the outside, but we do everything, every little bit we can within the rules. We got to do everything. So I wish I had a picture of my front brake rotors on my race car. They're turned all the way down. They're like a 16th inch thickness on the inside. The front rotors. The back rotors can't do that because I use a lot of back brake, and they need thickness. But the front ones, I never had problems, and they wouldn't get hot. I don't know why we don't use so much front brake. It's because of dirt, I guess. But my front rotors are turned way down to nothing. No. The pads, I never wore out a set of brake pads in I don't know how many years I raced that car, 5 years or whatever, but it has the same brake pads, and they're not Hawk pads or nothing. They're just some cheap pads that I bought from one of the suppliers, and they're the cheap ones. I think they cost like $30. So no, but I did. The rear brakes would get pretty hot. I never had to put any rear pads in there either. I did have to put new rotors on once. The wire he pulled was off number 3, and it broke inside the wire. Yeah, he pulled the terminal off when he was pulling it off the spark plug. So was that for his Pontiac Bonneville, Michelle? So yeah, a kid had just come in and got a spark plug wire, and I keep all the old parts on hand off all the cars I've done, just for cases like that. And we're open to 8. The parts stores, I guess O'Reilly's open to 8 too, but they don't deliver, so they don't deliver past 5. So if somebody comes in like that kid, I save all my used parts. So the only time I'll throw something away is if it's bad, or I take all the parts off and I can't use it anymore. I pound all the studs out of all the wheel bearings I change. What else do I save? So I'll show you. I got some strut mounts over here. I changed these out on a Ford. I think it's a Ford Edge. A couple weeks ago, and I haven't got around to it, but I'm gonna pound these studs out here because these work good for some exhaust connections on some vehicles that have the studs in them. So I'm saving this just so I haven't got time to knock these studs out, and I haven't told nobody else to do it. I'm sure Michelle could do it. But yeah, these bearings are bad, and what happens, this is on top of your strut, and then your springs go ting, 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 because the little ball bearings have made little notches inside there. So that's why they're sitting here, and I want them studs out of there. So there'll be 8 studs there for me. So back to brakes, and this is the lubricant I use. So we'll lubricate all where these where the hardware goes. So these are the brake shims, not shims, but the brake hardware here. There's like where this slides on. There's a stainless steel insert that goes in there. I don't know. So we'll lubricate both sides of the bracket, and then where the pad goes and where that clip goes. And then also lubricate here where the piston is, and then on the outside where the ears are that hold the outside pad. And then you want to pull the slide pins out and grease them up. So yeah, I've been using this stuff, ceramic, and it smells kind of bad, but it's the purple stuff. So it's high temp. So yeah, you want to use a good lubricant on there, and really important to lubricate right in this area on both sides of that clip. That keeps, especially in Minnesota, that keeps the rust down. Because what'll happen if you don't, this pad will get rusted here, and it'll actually seize in there. So then what happens when you hit the brakes, it moves a little bit to the inside, and then it stays there, and then it's still, the brake pad's kind of still, the green synthetic stuff, I don't know what that is. So I have another kind that I use. So I got some of this, but I don't use this for brakes. I use this for like the little top beautification covers with the rubber grommets. I'll put this in the rubber grommets, and it says it's a Silglide, but it says it's for brakes, and this is clear. But this is like $10 a can, and this is like 20. So, and I have to buy a can of this about every 2 months. Napa gave me some packets of stuff that was orange. I used all that up. I squeezed it into one of my old cans. Permatex green. I'm just gonna check. I'm just gonna go to do a Google search on that. So it's green. Okay, I found it. I got pulled up here. Same. It's a little more expensive than this stuff. Well, I'm gonna go to my Napa account. I see they got it. Once I get the part number off here, I'll put it in and see what my price is. It says $20.99. Let's see if they have it. I'm gonna get some. I need to get more anyways. So let me go to Napa. I got the 2015 F350 punched in here now, but let's just see if I put that. It did not copy the number. Oh, because I copied the wrong number. All right, let's copy this number. Let's go back to Napa. Put this number in there. See if anything comes up. Maybe I'll have to go to Parts Tech. Yeah, that number is not working at the ProLink. It's not working at ProLink. Let me go to Parts Tech. I'm going to put that number into Parts Tech. Man, you can't search this stuff. Well, there it came up at Napa. Yeah, that's cheaper than the stuff I'm using. $13.99 my cost. I'm gonna add it to my cart. I buy it now. All right, my brother's back and he's just gonna sweep the floor a little bit. He's got So down here, he's got all the rust down here by this welder. Look at that. That all came off his GMC. So he's gonna sweep that up a little bit, maybe pick up some tools. And you got some pieces cut out. So I'm not too sure. He probably doesn't want to be on video. All right, let me get back to the comments here. Okay, that Silklite is for the, yeah, that's what I figured, but I just don't use it. I use this stuff in the slide pins. This stuff works the best for like the beautification covers. Like you can't pop them on and off very good, and then the grommets stick on the engine side all the time. So you just put a little dab of this. Yeah. Well, it's where it goes onto the unibody. So let me go get the pieces. So this is the GMC Terrain that I did the brakes on. So last week, and I had the little short video. But this piece bolts onto the driver's side. This is up by the spindle area for that back wheel, and then this goes up. So this piece is okay. And then this piece goes up to the body like this, but where this piece mounts to is all gone, and this was broke away. So he's cutting some pieces and getting them welded in, and we may have to go outside and look at this weather because that looks terrible. Yeah, how's it look out there, Michelle? Because it doesn't look good from here. So I don't know, Leisure, what do you think about this brake pad off that Honda CR-V? And it's got the pullback clips, you know, so this squeaker can't touch unless you're applying pressure onto the pad. And see, that's why it's such a long squeaker. That's like 1.25 inches. And then the guy said that if this pad has got pressure on it, this squeaker can't squeak because it's taking out the vibration, is what he said in the comments. And then, so the only way this squeaker could squeak is if you're pushing on it. And trust me, that's how it was working, because the only time I drove it, the only time this brake pad would squeak is when you applied the brakes. It would not squeak when you let off the pedal. And the reason I drove it is because I needed to know if the rotors needed to be turned or replaced. And we got this gal fixed up really easily. I just put pads in there, that's all I did, and I greased everything up. And then when I drove it again, there was no more squeaking at all. But yeah, she got down there. That's less than. Yeah, that's what I thought, Leisure, because that other guy said he's got 38 years, and he said this will only squeak when you let off the brakes. And I'm like, sometimes, yeah, if it's rust jacked in there, but this one was not. This was free, and I barely had to clean up them brackets. I didn't even take them off. I just used a little wire brush, a round one in there, and cleaned it all up. And I do have a little file scraper thing, and I got it nice and clean enough. And I greased up both sides of I'm trying to think. These little stainless steel, the brake hardware that sits in here. I greased both sides of that. And I went out and burnished in her pads. I know you don't have to burnish in the pads very much anymore, but since I just pad slapped it without doing anything to the rotors, I decided to seat in the pads. So yeah, the guy with the 2020 Impala was back today, and he says that thing stops like butter. He is happy. We got to do a shock mount on his Suburban, so he's going to be bringing that in. I can't remember if it's next week or the week after, but I think it's the week after, May 5th or something. And I told him, I said, if you don't get on the schedule now, if we don't write you down now, when you want to get in, you won't be able to get in. We are starting to get more busy. I am almost 2 weeks out right now, and I remember some points last summer I was up to 4 weeks out. So yeah, the economy there was a spot. We're just starting to get more busy now, but there's a spot in the economy where people were just they're conserving, and I was conserving. Yeah, let's go take a look at this weather. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. Yeah, I got myself up there on the TV. Yeah, look at those clouds. So if we look out straight out over there, that's like the airport and where Rochester is. We're over there. That's where that tornado was. There was a tornado right over there. I don't know, just was last week. Look, so that way is over by Dexter. It's just completely black over there by the gas station, over the top of the gas station. All right. Coming back in. So it looks like we're good for right now, but they said we could get some hail and some bad thunderstorms. And she's moving out there. So I just hope we don't get no hail and we don't get no really bad heavy rain. Or tornadoes. Don't like any tornadoes. And I do got some customer cars out there in the parking lot, so like if it hailed or something, I don't know what they would do, or if my insurance would cover it, or if their insurance would have to cover it. So, yeah, Michelle put the Jeep in the shop, so that's over here on the other side. She doesn't want to get no hail dents on that, and that's got a really thin aluminum hood on it, so it wouldn't take much to put some hail dents in that thing. So yeah, I've been doing brakes on cars for at least 30 years, probably more than that. It's probably close to 35 years. And then when I first started out, I had work. My boss would come and pick me up from work release, and he had 7 trucks. So I started out washing trucks, and then I learned super fast because my dad we would go there. My dad would meet me there after work, like at 6 o'clock by the time he got home. So I learned how to do brakes on semis and grain trucks. Back when I was like 17 years old, probably 18, maybe I was 18. Yeah, the wind is really picking up now. I might have to shut the doors. So I did many brake jobs on semis. We had 7 trucks. They ran the whole year. I know all the shortcuts for doing brakes on semis. They've changed now a little bit. Some semis got disc brakes. I haven't done any of those. So then after that, yeah, I think I'm gonna shut the doors down. So I don't need the roof ripped off my building. And apparently, I have lost my remote control. Yeah, Cody, will you shut that door? Yeah. So I'm just on Mountain Dew. And we got some, I don't know, is that patriotic Mountain Dew? Yeah, I don't know if I'm responsible for it or not. I got full what do you call that, garage keepers, and it covers my pickup because that's part of the shop. Covers my parking lot, my customers' cars, I think when they're out there if something gets stolen. And it covers me if I'm driving my customer's car. Well, what doors are you talking about, Michelle? Okay. Cody, will you shut the other door too? Michelle wants it shut. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that nobody would hold me responsible, and everybody, most people, I'll let that door shut. That's kind of squeaky. Yeah, so most people, I would say 99% of the people that come here have insurance on their car. There is a few that bring me cars that have been sitting out in their driveway or their yard for years. Hey, Rob, yeah, I don't know. I blew that door down, and when I got here, they said the doors were reworked and resealed, but them doors are awful, and I can't wait. I can't wait till I have enough money I can replace those doors. And I know 2 garage door companies, and one of them is a friend of mine, and S&S Overhead Door, and them guys are good, but them guys are the ones that were here and fixed it. So, but it is an old door. This building has been here a long time, since back in the 60s. I don't know if these are the original doors since this building's been here. But so this is a good story. So when I was a kid, I don't know how old I was, like probably around 10, we would come and visit my grandma. Well, when my grandma lived like 2.5 blocks from here, 2 blocks from here, I would come down here. I would go over to the shop that's to the west of me, and I would go over there for a bit, and then I would come over here to this guy's shop, and he had a tow wrecker in here, and then the whole floor of the shop, right where that hoist is, right underneath that car right there, the GMC, he had pop cans, and he would run them pop cans over with his tow wrecker to crush them. I can remember to this day. Maybe I was only 7. I was between 7 and probably 11 years old. I'm just somewhere in that range, long time ago, and I can still remember to this day the stench of those pop cans. And I would come in here and ask that guy. His name was Roy, and I would ask Roy if he wanted me to help pick up some of them cans. Some days he would let me pick them up, and some days he wouldn't. But I was in this shop back when I was a younger child. And now I bought it. So that's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting story. So how you doing, Rob? Michelle says she sees some lightning. So on all my cars that I've owned, I have never wore out a set of brake pads. I have bought used cars where they were almost bad, and then I've had to put pads in, but I've never had to replace pads that I put in out of all my cars. And my pickup's got some pads in it that are pretty bad, but I took them all out and re-greased them because they were sticking a little bit and rust jacked. And when I did the axle seals, I had to have the back, and I needed to replace them back then. That was 2 years ago, but I did not. So I'm still using the same pads, but now the F-150's got a power steering line leaking, and I know it's so rusted, when I pull that line off, the other one's gonna go. So I got both the lines back there. I just don't have time to do it. When I was so I'm glad you're doing good, Rob. It's nice to see you in here. So Leisure says, when I was a kid, the soda machine at the shop, we went to dispense beer. Yeah, we didn't go that far. There was no beer in our pop machine, but it was a Pepsi machine, and we did put all kinds of pop in there, and then we'd put tape on the button as which one it was. And it was 50 cents. But I want to get a pop machine, and I want one that takes dollar bills and quarters, and I'll sell pop cheaper. But I was talking to my brother, and he says you gotta if you sell pop in a pop machine, the state wants sales tax. so that's something else you're gonna have to keep track of, and I don't know how you keep track of it. I guess I'll leave that up to Michelle, because I'm gonna have Michelle run the pop machine. But I want to get a pop machine, and I don't know if we'll keep it outside or inside, but probably outside. And I want one that takes dollar bills, and we probably won't get one that does the credit cards, because I don't know how that works, but I think we can get one that takes dollar bills and takes quarters. Yeah. And then we're going to get some vending machines for like some chips and candy bars. And then, so over there where Michelle's is at, we're gonna make all the customers go in there, and then we're gonna put a big window underneath the TV over here. So underneath the TV, so that's Michelle's right there. So we're gonna make people come in that outside door there. This door will be locked, and then underneath the TV, we're gonna put a window, and then Michelle will have a bar area. But if the people want to see me working on their car, they're gonna have to see me through the window. And if they want to talk to me, we're going to put it like maybe the window can roll up or slide open or something. If they need to talk to me, then they're going to have to yell at me through the window, because it's starting to get very distracting having all the customers come back here. And then the customers sometimes they're pretty nosy, and they'll walk around the shop and look at everything, and they'll distract me, and they want to talk to me. I mean, not that that's a bad thing, but I'm starting to get busier, and I got some work to get done, especially during the day. I mean, I do manage to do the best I can. If you wanted to tell me a story, I'll listen. But lately, I got a lot of work to do. I'm older. I can't work as fast as I used to. So I guess if I'm over here taking a break, that's fine. But I need to get back to work. And some of the stories my customers tell me take a long time. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that we are going to do a different setup in here. And the customers shouldn't be coming back into the shop anyways, but that's how the shop is set up. The only place they can come is right here. Currently, until we get that over there at Michelle's fixed. So this pickup, it's a 2015 F350 Super Duty with the 6.7. It's got a problem with the trailer brake lights. So the plug back there, when I first started on it, the only thing the plug had was the trailer brake electric brake. So that's working. So then I finally pull up I got wire diagrams all up. Yeah. I got a lot of older customers that are retired, and yeah, they got stories from way back when, which I like listening to their stories, and I love their stories. I do, and I generally remember all their stories. It's just sometimes that's for after work. But yeah, so this thing's got a problem with the trailer brake wiring, so I start tracing out wires and checking connections, and I find out that the trailer parking brake relay is missing. Okay, so I don't have one of those relays, so I took one out for the rear window defrost, which I don't think it has a rear window defrost, but it has a relay in there, and I popped it into the trailer brake parking light spot. Sure enough, I got parking lights back there at the plug now. So I'm all right. I'm like, okay, I got one part fixed. So I go shut off all the lights, and I come back here to look at the wiring diagram some more because I have no brake lights, no turn lights, and no battery power. So I'm looking at all the wiring diagrams, and I noticed that the regular lights on the pickup are not going off. They're staying on. So I put two and two together, and I'm like, okay, that's why the relay's pulled, because they got some wiring mixed up. So I checked the diagram again, and the trailer brake or the trailer parking lamps are not connected to the truck parking lamps. The only place they're connected at is the body control module. So either they got wires from the truck lights running into the trailer. So I figure we got two problems. We got something wrong with the body control module, and possibly they've connected some wires back there together that shouldn't be. But when I lifted it up and looked at it, I do not see anything really that's been tampered with. So I do see it's the fifth wheel, and it looks like maybe it was factory that way or dealer add-on, but I can't find the plug in the back of the. So I got to find that plug that's in the back of the bed. If it has one, there's a connector spot where it says it should have one, or a splice in the wires down on the bottom. And I kind of looked at the wires, and I kind of thought I seen the splice, but I do not see a plug in the back. So I guess I'm just going to have to investigate it more. But tomorrow's oil change day, so it's going to have to go outside, and it's a drop off. He talked to me, and he is wondering if he could drop it off. So I said yes, but that doesn't mean that I got to work on it constantly. But I don't like to have them sitting out there, and there's a couple of them now. So there's another gal that dropped off the Dodge Journey, and I didn't write her in the appointment book. I'll be hanging out in Michelle's with them mostly. Yeah, so Michelle can listen to their stories. Yeah, we got to get that set up. We got to get that done. So Leisure says, well, before that, he said the older folks are lonely and like to talk. And yeah, that's what I told you. I have a lot of older customers that are retired, and they got stories, and a lot of them know me because I've been around, and I know them because I've been around here all my life. So when people see the bookkeeper at our local shop, they can't wait to get out of the building fast enough. Well, I don't know what to say is okay. So she must be ugly, or she likes to talk a lot, or she's got a bad voice or something. Is that the one that you told me they were having spats and she came out with a yelling at people, chasing customers away? Is that is that the same person you're talking about? So I think Cody got his stuff picked up. I think he's a little bit upset because he wanted to work more on his GMC tonight. But I'm just like, I don't want the grinders going. Because I want to do this live feed, and I think I like doing this live feed. And I don't know if I should call it live feed or live stream. I try to call it both, but I call it a live feed. But anyway, so yeah, I think he wanted to get a little farther on his GMC, but we got tomorrow and we got Saturday. Originally I told him Sunday, but so yeah, when I did do the brakes on this GMC, the rotors were super rusted on there. So I gotta hammer them. I don't know how anybody else gets them off. So I hammer on the outside where the wheel goes on in between the studs. That's how I get it off. And I'll spray it down. But anyway, so I got it off. I put it in the lathe and I turned it and I checked to make sure it was thick enough and I did all that. So I get all the brakes put on and they're super rusty. So I mean, I've been cleaning these. It takes me like to clean the wheel bearing hub where the rotor goes on. It takes me 15 minutes or longer to do each one of those. You got to clean the rotors, you got to clean the wheels, you got to clean all the slide areas, you got to all that. So it took me, and I wasn't able. It's my brother, so I felt bad. I wasn't able to charge him like a normal customer, but I worked on that for 6 hours at least that day. So most of the day. So finally at like 5:30, I'm ready to go out for a test drive, make sure the brakes feel smooth, make sure there's no like warping in the rotors because my machine is old. I did have one time where I turned the rotor on there and it was worse than when I took it off, but there must have been a piece of crap in there that I didn't find because I returned it and then it was fine. But anyways, I'm backing it out. All of a sudden I feel the brake pedal go rrrt, rrrt. So I'm like, oh no. So I get a little bit farther out, the traction control light comes on, the ABS light comes on, and I'm like, I know what happened. So here, I'll get the wheel bearing. So yeah, this is something that can happen when you're knocking the rotor off. So the brakes were fine, the ABS side of it, and the traction was all fine before I did the brake job, but not afterwards because I knocked that rotor off here with the hammer. And this thing here is the encoder ring for the ABS. Well, you can see right there, it's missing. So that little part there broke off when I was hammering on it to get the rotor off. And I didn't find out about it until I was already done and he was here to pick it up. Because he gets off work at a normal time, like 5 o'clock. I don't. I work to 8 o'clock. So I put this wheel bearing in there today for him. Yeah, it was rusted. It was corroded in there really bad. But here's what I was talking about. So I have to clean all this up to a shiny middle, no rust, when you have the rotor off. Or else, when you put the rotor back on, it might not be on there straight, and you're gonna get a pulsation in your brakes. So this all has to be cleaned. So each one of these, 15, 20 minutes, cleaning all this. You click on clean the rotor, you gotta clean the wheel. And on the bigger trucks like this F350, if you don't clean those wheels up absolutely perfect when you get them off, they're gonna loosen up, and that guy's gonna lose the wheel. Because at the shop I worked at, all the bigger 8-bolt wheel Fords, they lost a couple of them. I never lost a wheel. Well, I can't say that. When I was a kid, when 16 with the Nova, and it had the Unilugs, and I beefed up the motor. I had 411 gears. And I was a hard driver when I was a kid, and I broke a few studs off on that. I had like 1.5 studs, and I was able to make it home from Austin. It took me 6 hours to get home. So yeah, I'm not gonna save the wheel studs out of that wheel bearing because I got plenty of those. So that one's, I just had it up here on the bench because I just replaced it. So that one is going in the scrap trailer. And now I need a rag to wipe my hands. So looks like there's one right over there. I gotta show you this. So my brother organized all the tools. Look at that. I can hear it's raining out there. So he probably didn't know where any of these tools went. So here's some of the rusted pieces out of here. And let's go take a look at that. So right up here is where that piece goes. And we started welding stuff in here, but there's not much to weld to. So right in here, let me turn my flashlight to the end. Right in here, I can't weld very good right there. So we're gonna grind that out, and then we're gonna put a plate down here on both sides. And this one too, we're gonna put more plates in for this. I don't even know what you call that link, but it just runs ahead, and it holds the tire. So the other side is okay. It's just this side. So yeah, it's starting to rain pretty good out there right now. Yeah, no, that's fine. Too bad he didn't want to stay to have a beer. Maybe he'll put me on his phone at home. But yeah, I could have had a beer. Oh yeah, she's raining. I hope she don't hail. Are you keeping an eye on the weather out there, Michelle? Yeah, that's okay. Tomorrow's Friday, so I'll just, I think we'll leave him out because he's probably gonna come over again, and we're getting a long ways on that. There's just a little bit left, and once we start getting more steel in there, it'll start welding. It'll start welding better and nicer. It just takes. Yeah, he drinks. I can't remember what kind he drinks. Well, he drinks Busch Light like me, I think. So, as soon as I get done with this Mountain Dew, I'll probably have a beer. I gotta think about what I gotta do with this F350. So I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to fix it for the guy. I'll do the best I can. But sometimes this thing's had a lot of wiring modifications. It's got a snowplow on it. It's aftermarket brake controller because it doesn't have the Ford one, but they wired it in to where the Ford one would plug into the dash, and I've already checked that out. All that wiring there is okay. I do see some other wires around the truck that are not normal, like add-on stuff. Yep, Busch Light, I knew it. So that's what I drink too. Old Style, I don't know Old Style if I could. That sounds to me almost like Old Milwaukee. I can drink a Coors, maybe just one night. I could drink Coors. It cooled down like 8 degrees in the past 5 minutes. 68 degrees now. Hopefully it don't hail and don't wind too much. If you feel unsafe out there, Michelle, you better come in here. Budweiser. I'll drink a Budweiser once in a while. It's more of a thick or heartier beer for me. I do like a Bud Ice beer because it doesn't take very many ice beers to get me a good buzz. That sounded like a UTV. And I like, I'll drink Miller Lite or Bud Light. But mostly Busch Light I like because it's so light, and if you drink it fast enough, you can get a good buzz going. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to make it out there because I don't want to get soaked. Anheuser instant headache. Yeah, no, well, I don't know. I like the Busch Light. It's nice and goes down smooth. Everybody has their preference, I guess. I don't like to drink hard liquors. I like nitro. Michelle says she likes nitros and stouts. Like I think this is why I don't like hard liquor. When I think I was like 21, not when I just turned 21, but when I was 21, I went to a party. It might have even been one of my parties. And one of my other friends wanted to have a drinking contest, so we both had the smaller, big bottle of Jack Daniels, like a bottle about this tall, and both of us decided to see who could drink the bottle the fastest. So we both just slammed as much as we could, and I do remember puking. The other Long Island iced tea, I can't have those. Only one. I would drink about half of it and I'd be out. But anyways, I slammed half that bottle and then I realized that something could be wrong. So that was it. And then I never drank, like, other than when I went to Vegas. So when I went to Vegas, they would mix Absolute vodka and 7-Up with a lime on the top. And that was the first time I ever had like a harder alcohol since the Jack Daniels incident. And I like those. And now I mix them up with some Tahitian Treat and some Squirt, but only like once every couple months I'll have some of that. Other than that, it's just it's Busch Light, and it's always, I don't get to drink my Busch Light until like 9 or 10 o'clock, because that's about when I get done in here. And I only get a couple cans and then I gotta go to bed. Yeah, it's really raining out there. I don't hear any hail yet. Okay, now I do. Just some little bits of hail, some lightning. Michelle likes Dr. Pepper and Jack Daniels. Is it Jack Daniels? You like Jack and Dr. Pepper, that's what it is. But now she's cheapened it up a little bit and she drinks a vodka with Dr. Pepper. I don't know about that. I never tried any. Yeah, it's getting loud in here. Like, I might have to speak up. Oh, that rain is really coming down. Let's go out by the door. Yeah, I didn't want to get Cody's work vehicle license plate into the camera, so I was being careful about that. Yeah, I don't like visually see any hail. Yeah, there. See it? It's delayed. Look at that. Weird. That's really loud in here. But now Michelle drinks Dr. Pepper and vodka. All right, if I start hearing some bigger hail, we're going to go out there. I can't believe we still have internet. Wow, she's really raining. Michelle says, I wish I could see you like you can. The windows are covered. Oof, hail. Yeah, it must be hailing just a little bit. Really pebble. I think it's really pebble size, like floor dry hail. Floor dry hail out there. All right, it's calm. I can hear it calming down just a little bit. I still can't believe I got internet. So yeah, I think Sunday we're gonna have a big cleanup day in the shop. It's really dirty in here and disorganized. so gonna have to come in. Well, we got to come in Sunday and make that guy's decals. Yeah, I got a vinyl cutter. I can only do one color, and I don't like to do it. I don't like to do it for myself, but this guy knows I have a vinyl cutter, so he wants to come have me make him some decals on Sunday. But I like to watch the NASCAR race on Sunday, so hopefully that doesn't interfere. And then Jeffro's Garage and Fab has his live, so I like to watch that. That's on Sundays at 6:30 Central Time. So I can only refer to time as Central Time because that's my time. So right now it's 8:10. I'm in Central Time Zone. Michelle says, yes, Dr. Pepper and Jägermeister is great. I don't like Dr. Pepper and I don't like Jägermeister. Yeah, we kind of picking back up again. Michelle, can you hear the rain on my live stream? Or can anybody hear how raining it is on the live stream? But I wouldn't come right now, Michelle, because you're going to be soaked. You must have forgot to bring your bottle into the motorhome. All right, it calmed down a little bit. Take a run for it now. Oh yeah, she calmed down. So we could be in the center of the storm, and then we'll get hit again in a few minutes. Yeah, I'm sure that was like a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain there in just a little bit of time. My rain gauge at home is, I have a weather station and something's wrong with the rain gauge, so I haven't looked into it, but I can't tell you how much rain we just got. Okay, I gotta go unlock the door for Michelle. All right, got the door unlocked for her. I hear her coming now. Oh, she said she's coming. So yeah, I just want. I made it. Okay, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
I just wanted to talk about brakes today. Walter, no, one of my guys said that I should use it's not Perfect Stop, it's Power Stop. So Power Stop, I don't know if he meant Perfect Stop or if it was Power Stop. I can only get Perfect Stop, and them are Bosch pads. And the mailman's car, that's what I put on the mailman's car, and he only got 26,000 miles out of those pads. So we put DFCs on it now. So I want to see how many miles difference we get from DFC pads. It's going to be very, very interesting. So I love the DFC pads. They look good. They feel good. I haven't had any problems with them. I've been putting them in for a couple months now, and I put in a lot of them. If you get DFC at my supplier, if you get the DFC brake pads and rotors, you get free Girl Scout cookies. And the other day they ran out of Girl Scout cookies, so they went to the store and they got me Kit Kats. So they brought me a couple Kit Kat bars as appreciation of buying brake pads from them. Yep, they do. And I when he came and picked up the car, I heard him go, and I can't remember, a couple months ago, one of the mailmen quit because they gave him a warning letter says if you don't finish your route by the night, you don't get paid for that day. Well, it was a scare tactic because it wasn't real, but the one mailman quit. But I did talk to this guy, and he says sometimes he don't get done with his route till like 7 or 8 o'clock. So I don't know. They don't start until like that 9:30 when they get the car loaded up, maybe 10. Maybe it's later. But then he's out to 7 o'clock every night delivering mail. So I'm sure this is the point of my story. I'm sure he's driving that car hard, And that's probably why the brakes. And I gave him a break on the labor. I felt kind of bad. I gave him a break on the labor. I don't like to do that, especially like on fleet vehicles or mail route vehicles. But I gave him a break on the labor. I felt kind of bad, and he's a good customer, and he dropped his other one off, says it's using too much gas, and it smells funny, so I don't know what's up with that. I haven't got it in yet. I was supposed to get it in because he's got two Honda CRVs. One's a 2002, one's a 2010. So the 2010 is the one I did the brakes on, and I don't know what else we did. Tire rotation and oil change. Oh. Front sway bar links.
Yep.
And there might have been one other thing I did on it. But I gave him a break on the labor on the pads because I put them in 26,000 miles ago. I may have to review my policies on fleet vehicles. I know if something happened to the police car, like when their brakes go bad, it's only going to have 30 to 40,000 miles on the pads I put in. But we call him the kid cop. And he is not easy on that Tahoe. Not easy at all. Every time I change oil on the Tahoe, he's going by my shop at more than 70 miles an hour. So I am not, if they wear their brakes out or whatnot, I am not covering it.
Okay.
I'm in the mood for Mr. Goodbar now. Yeah, I like peanuts and chocolate.
I'm gonna go hang out with Daisy in the motorhome.
Okay, well, I don't know how long we got left to go.
Well, you're fine. I got you on the phone.
We've been going 71 minutes.
Woohoo!
So I'm thinking about 2 hours we'll do Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and the Post Office, the other armed forces. So the DFC pads are for the mail route, government mail vehicles. They're contracted, and FedEx vehicles. Thank God it ain't UPS, because if you hear those trucks, all they do is squeak. I don't know who does the brakes on those or what kind of pads they use or brake shoes or pads, but them UPS vehicles, man, that's a screech every time. And I know when the UPS is coming because it's a squeal and brake vehicle. They must do good maintenance because the trucks are pretty good, but the brakes squeal. So that's a tattletale sign. I know when UPS is here because the brakes are squealing on its stop. And it ain't a wore out squeal. It's just like a loose pad squeal. So yeah, I know when UPS gets here. So yeah, I don't know how many brake pads I've replaced and how many brake jobs. I wish I knew that number, but it's a lot. The other number that I wish I knew is how many engines I've rebuilt. Because back in the day, we rebuilt engines. And it's a lot. I still see a car to this day that still has the engine in it that I rebuilt. Yeah, so they squeal over there in Connecticut too, huh, Leisure? Yeah, maybe they're full metallic pads. Maybe he's got to step on them pads so hard. So I got a story I could tell you about race car metallic brake pads, and I don't use metallic brake pads in my I use just regular. The front brake pads aren't even metallic. They're so old. I think the back ones are. You got to be like at least a semi-metallic in there, and it uses the metric calipers on the back rear brakes too. But so when I was younger, I was in Sturtville, and the back alley they used to race. Okay, so this was a bigger Ford, like a Trino. It was a full-size Ford car. And the guy had a hopped-up engine in it. He put semi-metallic brake pads in there, is what I found out. I didn't know anything about it. I just was outside and witnessed it. But he couldn't stop. So he did his drag race a quarter mile, and, he let off the gas in time to stop, but his car wouldn't stop. It wasn't a hung throttle or anything. He just couldn't stop. the brakes. So found out or heard that they had just put semi-metallic brake or full metallic brakes in there, and they were doing a test. And he ended up chopping a pole in half, destroyed the car, and ended up in the trailer park and ripped somebody's deck off their trailer, mobile home trailer. But I found out the reason that happened because I was there and I was a witness and the police talked to me. But anyways, the police got back to me and told me I didn't have to testify. And then they told me the story about how he replaced his brakes and put full metallic pads in there and he couldn't stop. At least that's the story I was told. Maybe he didn't pump up his brakes when he would have had to. But yeah, I just got a ton of experience doing brakes, and I've been doing them since I was really young. So if you figure I did them from when I was 20, so 30. So if you figure it out, if I started doing brakes when I was 20, which I was working in a shop when I was 18, so we'll add a couple years. So 35 years I've been replacing brakes on people's cars. I've done them on semis. I've done them on grain trucks. I've done them on police cars. I've done them on school buses. So for 2 years, I used to service all the school buses. It's different now. We used to rebuild the engines in the school buses to keep them going and whatever they needed because they hauled children. Now, I think it's a new, from what I've heard, buses can only be 2 years old and you have to get a new one. So back in my day, no, we kept them buses going. I ended up repairing the same buses that picked me up for school. I put an engine in the bus that picked me up from school when I was a child, later on in life when I was working for somebody. And it had an international, I think it was probably like a 345, maybe it was a 392, I can't remember. So that one we just replaced the engine. And then another bus I did was we fixed the engine. It was a diesel, and I can't remember. It was an international diesel. 6.9 is it? A non-turbo international diesel. So I rebuilt that engine, and that bus finally got retired when the rule came out where you had to get a new bus every 2 years. Buses, when Leisure was good, buses were atrocious. Yeah, they were, but they kept them going. We didn't get a new bus every 2 years. Now that comes out of my tax dollars. And the shops that repair them buses now, they charge like double or triple the cost that I charge here. That all comes out of our tax dollars to keep these buses going. And I guess I don't have any kids. I kind of feel like I pay for other people's kids, but I guess that's just how the world works. The Lodestars, yeah. I done some Lodestar like grain trucks, and I can't remember what a 9670 tractor is called, but we used to have a 9670. We used to have Peterbilt, a Freightliner, a Kenworth. Yeah, one morning I was bringing the truck in with the trailer on it as a grain trailer for service, and it had rained and snowed and gotten colder that Saturday morning. I was bringing it in, and it was outside, and I got it started, yeah, and warmed it up, but the brakes were froze on the trailer, and I can't remember if it was, I think the trailer was empty, but anyways, I could not get the brakes. I should have went out there with the hammer and knocked the brake shoes, but I didn't. I was younger, and anyways, I was rocking it back and forth with the clutch. Well, anyways, I had snow and water on my foot, and I was doing pretty good and just about ready to break those wheels free, and my foot slipped off the clutch, and she broke the dry shaft, or the knuckle on the dry shaft, and the dry shaft went flopping on the ground. And then my boss was just coming out to tell me that I should take a hammer to the brake shoes. And so the dry shaft, like he was walking out the door, and then I broke the dry shaft off, and he came over there, and I think he might have yelled at me a little bit. I didn't cry or nothing, but I think he might have yelled at me. And then, anyways, he made me go back there and knock the brake shoes loose, and we pulled it in with a tractor. I think we had a big John Deere, like a 46 something, 4670 or something. We pulled the truck in, and then my job was to replace that U joint and hope nothing else was broken. But I was lucky on this one because the U joint goes in with two 5/16 fine thread bolts, and usually them caps you got to jack them out of there. But this U joint must have been replaced before because it slid right apart. I replaced that U joint in like a half an hour, and my boss was happy. And then I did the rest of the service on it. I greased it up, changed the oil, and checked the lights, and aired up the tires, whatever it needed. That's what my job was. So did lots of brakes on semis. Like I watch videos of people doing brakes and the S cam springs. They even make a special tool for it now. You don't need any special tools. And I just I put the S cams, or not the S cam spring, but the other side springs on. I'll put them on and then flip the pad brake shoe over, and then leave the roller out. Put the S cam spring in, and then pick it up and put the roller in. Oh, that's what the buses were called, Lodestars. Yeah, yeah. So I was in fourth grade when we moved here, and that's when I started to have to ride the bus. But all the years before that, I lived in Rochester, and I would ride my bike to school or walk to school. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't have argued with that guy as much on the comments, but I feel like when I'm right, and I know I'm right, that I need to stick up for myself. I figured somebody else would get in there and agree with me, but nobody did. But not a big deal. I just do videos to help people out, and whether you're stepping on your brakes and you hear a squeal, or you're not stepping on your brakes and usually if you're not on your brakes, they could still squeal. But a lot of times, like, I'll notice a car is squealing, but it's the wheel bearing. And then when I go out to drive it, sure enough, she's rumbling. But when the bearings are dry in the wheel bearing, you can get a squeak. Plus, if your wheel bearing's got play in it, your rotor can walk to the side, and then it causes a squeak or a grind. Alicia said if he drinks too many Anheuser-Busch products, he rides the bus. Yeah. I just nowadays I only like to drink at home because I'm a responsible person, and that's just how it is. I don't like now. Back when I was younger, yeah, you could drink and then drive home. You could go to the bar, but now the cops sit, and if it's close to close, I'm guessing if it's anywhere around midnight to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, they scope out the bars and they wait for you to leave. So if you are going to go to the bar, leave early. And if you go to the bar, park out in the open. Don't try to hide your vehicle, because the vehicles in the back are the ones he scopes out the most. Don't be afraid. Like, hey, I'm going to be drinking. I don't want anybody to see I'm here. Don't do that. Just park right in the front. DUI happy hour. So I know in my county they have a DUI or a task force, I'm going to say, because there's 3 of them that are assigned only to watch the bars and pull people over leaving the bars. I do know that was the way it was 2 years ago. I don't know if it's the same way now. But I do know that they watch you, because I'll be at the bar once in a while, and I can walk to the bar. So I do know that they drive around the bar when it gets later at night, and they're watching for the cars. Tail fins, some Mooner's War. Well, hello to you. Yeah, we can walk to the bar. So, and we can walk from the shop to home. And tonight we're staying outside at the shop, so Tailfin Summoner War. Yeah, I don't know. How you doing? I think I'm almost ready to crack open a Busch Light though. Staggerback? I don't even know what Staggerback is. Michelle probably knows. She knows a lot of stuff. So Michelle does. I have a hard time knowing whether it's lager or lager. Maybe I didn't even say that. Drunk Staggerback. Oh, drunk walking. Okay. No, well, no. No, when I get that bad, I gotta be pretty close to my bed. And that don't happen very often. Like when I get home, I'll have a few beers, and I like to watch Star Trek, so uh, Enterprise is probably the one I get to watch the most. I like Voyager and Next Generation. I don't really like the Deep Space Nine, and I like the original series, but it's just kind of slow paced. I do like yeah, so like I would say, I don't know, the drunkest times are for me are like New Year's and my birthday. I don't think I barely drank at all this last New Year's. Um, so Tailfin, where are you at? Phil 9238, how you doing? Michelle likes to watch the news. If I watch the news, I get depressed. Doctor Who, I love Doctor Who. There's some Doctor Who's I want to get the series of. I can't remember the girl's name and the doctor. I like the original Doctor Who, and then there was one with the one girl that was pretty good. Originally, Tailfin is from Pennsylvania. How's the weather in Pennsylvania? Yeah, no. If you don't have a handle on it, um, that it's probably not a good thing that you drink. Sober a year, that's great. Yeah, I can't. I don't like anything hard. I can only drink a couple beers. That's about it. Yeah, on PBS, but I can't remember the season or the episodes that I like the best. Oh, so you're in Minnesota right now? Oh, you moved to Minnesota? Yeah. I'm thinking about moving to Florida. This winter's the older I get, the colder and harder the winters are on me. And I'm definitely glad I got a plow on my pickup, and I'm pretty meticulous how close I get to stuff, and I can get the yards pretty good. I did not have to shovel at all this last year, so I did get the truck stuck a couple times, but I was able to get out each time. It just took me a while, and not too. It's pretty hard on the truck when you get stuck, like the transmission and the tires for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit upset with Trump. I think he could do better. He did so much better the first time. This time I'm not happy with him. He needs to give our money back. Yeah, so we're gonna go on vacation to Florida this summer, so I can see if I can handle the heat and humidity and salt water, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm agreeing with Leisure. I think I might have a hard time. I was out in Nevada, and that's some dry, hot heat, which was plenty hot for me. I don't know if I was working in that dry, hot heat, how bad I would sweat. I sweat pretty good here in Minnesota, and I started sweating this last week already. So, I mean, working and sweating. Ohio froze us nuts off, Phil. Yeah, where you? Oh, you're in Sebring, Florida, 2 years ago. Bounced from Ohio. Yeah, I think Ohio is not as cold as Minnesota. I think they do get their when the storms do come down because they get all the way down to Texas, and when it gets down to Texas, people can't drive in that stuff. Yeah, I should probably get one. I just got a little bit of Mountain Dew left here. It's like right here, and I'm really conserving on my I can't waste it. All right, got it down. I'm gonna go get a Busch Light. So yeah, it's starting to thunder out there pretty good. And I may after this live feed, I may stay in here and sweep the floor or something. It feels like it's dirty in here. Maybe I got to clean up my parts counter here. So tail fence says he prefers heat over cold for sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. When it gets so hot, I sweat. When I'm working on cars, I sweat really bad. I'm glad my shop here has air conditioning in it, so it's not too bad. I don't know. It's probably all the Mountain Dew I drink. It makes me sweat a lot, and I'm not in the greatest shape, as you guys seen. And I am older. I don't have any health issues though that I know of, but I guess I've always sweat a lot. But I don't think I've ever been in perfect shape. I have played football and track and all that. Um, yeah, I guess I don't like the cold. I guess I really don't like that I have to pay the heat bill. That's what I really don't like. Yep. Maybe 75 is just if you're working hard, maybe 75 is just, unless it's a breeze. And 50 at night, yeah, when you're going to bed, have the fan on. Oh, that's perfect for me. Uh, like I got at the house, I just got a window air, but at night when it cools off, I'll just turn the fan on. Just had to change the oil pump on the 2009 Chevy Silverado in the cold, and I think I'd rather been sweating than freezing. Yeah, so did you do that all from the front, or did you have to drop the oil pan down too? I'm assuming it's a 5.3. I got a 2009 Chevy Silverado out there right now. It's got bad cam in it. So the guy brought it to me, and he thought we could pop the lifters back, and I was gonna get ready to pop the lifters back because they were stuck down, but I'm looking at the cam and she was gone. You did have to drop the oil pan. So did you see my little short video that you could drop that oil pan off by just letting that front differential hang? Unless yours was a two-wheel drive. So was yours two-wheel drive or was it four-wheel drive? Yeah, it's a 5.3. I knew that. I just diagnosed the guy's, he lost oil pressure, and it was the second cam bearing had walked itself out. Yeah, no, I like watching SMA videos. I learn a lot, so much from that guy, and he's so modest. I think he's probably one of the best. I'm just gonna say mechanic or technician. I don't like to call myself a mechanic or a technician. I did figure out something that I do like to call myself, but Eric, I think Eric's a lot like me. He's just a little bit younger than me, but I love watching his videos and he is very good. I wish I could be even close to that good at what he does and his videos, how good he does those videos. And he was having a What's Up Wednesday the other day, and he was showing me the camera that he uses. Because I'm having trouble with microphones, but his camera has the microphone on it, and his videos are always so good. So it's 4-wheel drive, yeah. So I just dropped the 2 bolts by the differential carrier. Is there 2 there? And then the 2 bolts on the bracket. And I left the dry shaft on and everything, and I just dropped that differential down, and I was able to pull the pan off. I didn't even unbolt the axles. So the axles, axles in the front dry shaft were holding the differential there, but that gave me enough room to get the oil pan off. Did you do something similar like that? Yup, he makes a lot of money on YouTube. So let me see what we are up to today for our 28 days. And I don't know why YouTube does it by the 28 days. So I just got monetized last October. And it says we are at, so I had a good month last month. It was like $168 I made. I mean, that's good, I thought, for me. But right now, as of right this moment, I'm at 129.88. So it's gone down a little bit, but I haven't done any long videos, and long format videos is that's where you make your money, because they have the commercials in them. Oh yeah, so I turned the commercials off on this live feed. And then after I get done with the live feed tonight, then I'll turn the monetization on. Raymond Ray, yeah, I like Raymond Ray. Yeah, that's why I like to watch him too, because sometimes, he doesn't do exactly what you should do or diagnose it quite how you should diagnose it. But he's a character, and he's trying as hard as he can, and I've followed him for a long time. He does try to do the best. And I like his videos. And I try, like, if I see somebody doing something wrong, I try to be so nice about it on my comments. And I try not to make a big deal about it. But sometimes you got to point something out. And then he looks back at his comments. I know he does. And so, yeah. And I make mistakes on my videos. So it's just, some people fix cars differently than other people. So my guy that's with the 2020 Impala, he's in between dealers because his dealer wanted a tremendous amount of money to replace those brake pads. And I told him I would put in AC Delco brake pads, and I've been doing this for 35 years. I told him you're going to get just the goodest job from me using the same parts, and it'll be cheaper. So I put in AC Delco silvers, which that's not exactly OEM, but when you get the silvers versus the golds, and the golds are OEM, the pads look pretty similar to me. So I put the silvers in on everything, and I got a 2019 Silverado that I put the brakes in, and that was a couple years ago, and I put all GM Silver Advantage GM AC Delco pads in it, and they are still like brand new. Because that guy brings it to me for an oil change every 5,000 miles, and we use AC Delco oil filters. I do put Napa oil in, but that's because I use so much oil. We run Napa out of oil, our parts store, all the time. I don't know. I think I got all the oil for tomorrow and Saturday already here. Well, if I had the monetization on, you would get ads. So I just think, I don't make that much money anyways. Well, why do I have to distract everybody with those ads? Yeah. Yeah. So Leisure said, I think Ray does it on purpose to get the comments from the algorithm. I know he does some of his stuff. Like, it's for sure the titling on some of his videos. I better catch up on these comments. Raymond Ray. So how long does it take to get companies to stop? I don't have anybody. If I get well, my phone picks up most of them people that call from. I do have one person in my email that's been trying to email me, but I don't even answer them. Oh yeah, I didn't see that Dodge Dakota did a bad diagnosis. So that's why I like to do the videos, the little short videos. And then once I figure it out, because I don't know them all either, and then I always try to figure it. Like this one here, I can't figure out so far. I don't know if I could fix it. But I have come just a little bit, and I'll start putting two together and using. I had to break out O'Reilly's diagrams and Mitchell's diagrams for the wiring on that. And O'Reilly's diagrams on this truck are not very good. So let's get back here. Michelle says, "Oh, you mean have you ever heard of the used blah 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 company?" No, I have not. They're all junk. Can't wait to retire. When I retire, I won't even put air in my own tire. What are you guys? Oh, Dodge. Are you guys talking about Dodge Dakotas? Yeah, they always break. I had one break the transfer case off. They always break the rear leaf spring brackets. The 4.7 engine is not a good engine. Yeah, we already decided or talked about the raise. Does that for the comments, the algorithm. Trouble child vehicles. Also, so do you have your own shop or do you work at a shop, Phil? Yeah, I do get intermittent problems, and I recommended one guy to go to another shop, and then they couldn't figure out either, so I didn't feel bad. And I did call the guy. I seen him drive by the other day. I'm like, "What did you get? What did they find wrong with your truck?" And he says that it just doesn't act up anymore. So at least I gave him good advice, and I didn't put any money into his truck, and I hope the other shop didn't either, because they couldn't figure nothing out. Like if you bring your car here for a diagnostic, you're probably likely that I'm not going to charge you for anything if I can't figure it out. But if I can figure out what's wrong with your vehicle, I'm going to charge my rate. So Phil, mobile programming diagnostic and locksmith. Yeah, so I like cutting keys, and I can cut laser keys, regular keys. And we just did a key fob for a 2024 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. So I had to bypass the gateway on that one. Yeah. So the shops, they use you. They pay you the flat rate or whatever it is, and maybe a little bit per hour, and they make out big, because the last shop I worked at was charging $130 an hour, but I was only getting 25. But yeah, I do it all here myself. Michelle helps me out though, because she does, and she's my other person, so she does help as much as she can. And she is feeling so much better the last few days. That's pretty awesome. So yeah, I think later on, when I get older and hopefully I can make some money, I would like to do just locksmithing and programming remotes for vehicles. Not so much on the house side or the building side of it. I can cut you a door key, yeah, but I don't want to come to your house. And one of my neighbors locked herself out, and I came over there and picked her lock or whatever. I can't remember what I did. But I like doing the automotive side, and we should go back there and look at my let's go back there and look at my key cutters, because maybe this could help fill out. So it's kind of a mess on this bench, and I don't get to this bench to clean it out very much. I got a generator up here. Yeah, because that needs to be worked on. This is the key cutter I use for laser keys. and this one follows the key, and this one's just got a little mill bit in it. And I've cut a ton of those laser keys, just a ton of them. So I cannot do an all keys lost because you need the computerized one that's hooked to the internet, and you need to be registered to the NASHA or whatever it is. So you can get the code for the key. And then the other key cutter I have that works for double-sided keys is this one. It's just a regular hardware store one. And I've cut hundreds of keys on there. Probably not hundreds on here. We're probably talking about 25 to 50 laser keys here. So those are my key cutters, and then I did get the X tool. So I got the X tool, like I don't know what number it is, but it does more keys, has more key functions. So I had a 2020 Ford Transit that I had to use the X tool on. So I got this one for doing keys. It's a D7W. So that's what I use for key programming, is the X tool. And that, I don't like the X tool, but it hasn't failed me yet on any keys. And I got a guy coming in with a 2024 F250. He wants a key cut and programmed. So we'll see if it can do that. And then let me show you. So on the Jeeps, the Chryslers, we gotta get by the gateway, because I'm not paying for the auto. Where did my, here it is. So the auto authority thing. This is all you need to bypass the gateway on a Chrysler. So you just unhook the gateway module and plug it into here. You plug your scanner into there, full access, and you can program fobs or read the data, the computer, read codes, clear codes, anything you could do normally. That's all you need is that bypass cable. All right, yeah, so Michelle was very sick. And now she's doing a lot better. Nope, so in Minnesota, I don't need to be registered. I don't need to be bonded. I'm allowed, as under the current laws that we have, I do not, and my locksmith that I go to that helps me out when I can't do it or when I was afraid to do it. I did brick a Honda once, and he had to bail me out. Cost me $650. All it was I tripped the security, and it locked the car down, so you couldn't do nothing. And he couldn't figure it out. He was there for a long time, and I told him exactly what I did. But anyways, all we did is unhook the battery and then hooked it back up, and then we were able to program the keys, and the car started. So yeah, I don't have to have any certifications or anything for doing automotive locksmithing in Minnesota. Yep, so that's so I've been here my whole life. I've been working on everybody's cars for the last 35 years. Just lately for myself, I run my own business. But they all know me, and they all trust me, and they know the work I do. So I have hundreds of people around this area that come here. So I got a great clientele. And lately it's been expanding. I mean, I get a lot of people that would normally not come to my shop, and they're coming here because they go to the dealers. But the dealers are upselling and charging too much and not doing good enough work lately. All of them, all the dealers. I think there's one dealer in Austin that does good that I don't get any cars from. Yeah, the gateway crap is crap, and we have the right to repair, at least as far as I know. So I want to get the S2 Ultra. So you're telling me that they lightened up their immobilizer stuff, so you don't have as much. I don't have an Autel, and I wanted to get the S2 Ultra because Eric has one, and they look awesome, and they come with that scope and the CAN bus features on them. and the split screen, like, there is a new scanner that I want. Let me see if I can find it. And I'm going to get this one. I know I put it into my cart. Oh boy, I didn't put it in the cart. Maybe it's in the Amazon cart. There's a new scanner and it's got AI for diagnostic help. Let me see what it's called. I don't think I put it into my cart, but it's like yep, so the dealers have too many young kids, and the young kids just don't have the experience, and they're not getting taught. Either they're not listening in school, or they're not getting taught good enough, or yeah, top done. That I haven't had one of those. It's a Mukar. I think it's a Mukar, and it's got. Let me type it in here on Amazon. Yeah, it's a Mukar 892 BT. I want to get that one. And it's not too badly priced. I gotta go shut the air compressor off. Just hold on a minute. So I do lose some air, and I got an outside air hose, but somewhere it's losing air. I just haven't checked into it. It holds good enough. All right, I got it, Rob. No, that's all. I'm just glad you're here. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna get the Mukar 892 BT, and it's got like an AI. There's some AI stuff in there that I just want to check out. Plus, I think it's lifetime updates. Yeah, no, I'm gonna, Phil. Yeah, I'm gonna be stuck in, and this is my line of work. It's either that or I'm gonna have to stand out on the corner by Walmart or something. Air compressor hell. Hey. Oh yeah, I had to shut that off. I don't know. It's leaking somewhere. There's a hose that runs outside, so I don't know if it's leaking out there. Someday I should check in to see where it's leaking. It's rough for Rob to chat on Thursdays. Yeah, Rob. So what day of the week would work better for you? I'm thinking we're gonna have this style or the landscape style tech tip Thursdays, tech talk Thursdays. But I'm thinking Tuesdays we'll do a portrait and get on the short feed, and I'm gonna call it a Tech Tip Tuesday or something like that. What is Michelle? Snap-on is just way too much. Yeah. I used the Zeus scanner and it was awful, and it's cost so much, and those things do break down. You gotta have another scanner if you're gonna use a Snap-on. Now the old one, I can't remember what you called that. The one with the wheel on it, the original one. Those worked pretty good. I had one. Yeah, the dealers are they're overcharging. So I had a customer come in, he just at the dealer got his oil changed. They gave him a $7,000 quote for everything that was wrong with his car. He brought it here to get a second opinion, and the dealer misdiagnosed his power steering rack and his oil pan, but they missed his transmission cooler lines that were leaking, and they missed the differential axle seal that was leaking really bad. So I found a bolt loose on the oil pan, a couple of them. So I tightened them and cleaned it all off. I did everything that the dealer was going to do besides the racket pinion and besides the oil pan and the 2 extra things that I found. And I think it was only $1,600. Oh, you play games. Well, what kind of games? Did you check out my I see you didn't get on the leaderboard. I made the leader. I think I'm in the top 5 or 6 spots now. It's Pete01507.com, and then it's on the BOA page. And up at the top there's a, I can't remember what it's called, but it's scrolling across a scroller and it says BOA's on the loose. But I didn't check it the last couple days, so if you did play, I didn't check. Yeah, Michelle likes Bingo Blitz. Okay, so that's the M20, and they took the keys. You had to have the keys and stuff, and it was for OBD1. My Corvette was a 1987. I ended up getting a plug. You could plug the laptop in and use HP tuners, or no, it wasn't HP tuners. It was a Tuner Pro, and I reprogrammed the EPROMs and added EPROM burner, and you could put more than one tune on a chip, but I ended up using like 128 chips, and I would run 2 tunes on it, and I had a switch, and you could switch on the fly, and that was awesome. But the best tune I ever made for that car, I turned the air fuel ratio to 15.7 instead of 14.7. I leaned the car out, and it turned out to give the car more horsepower. And I was always scared that it was going to burn a piston or a valve, but I took the heads off and I ported them and put bigger valves in, and there were aluminum heads on that ear. Maybe not bigger valves, but I put undercut stainless steel valves in, and we put roller rockers on it. I had 1,000 CFM throttle body. It was still tune port, and I ported or port matched all the tune port stuff, and we took off the cold start ejector, and yeah, we did raise our rates. So we did raise our rates a couple weeks ago. We are now at $80 an hour instead of $65. So I'll have to check that out. So I can clone a computer, like if I have to replace one. Because the only stuff I could program, I just have the GM MDI2. And I have a Authentic one, and I have an account at GM, and I have 1 car left. So I programmed here, let me show you. I'll show you what we did. And me and Michelle figured this out, because this was our first time we had to program something. So I kept this module, and it's on my bench so I could show people. Because this is what happens. Look at that. Right down there in the bottom. It's all corroded. And these are in the back bumper on a GM vehicle. And plus, I need the gold off this circuit board. Look at all the gold in there. But anyways, we programmed I think we did both of them on both sides. You got to do them together, and you got to get the wiring harness. Oh, so Eric went to 100 because he was at 80 the last time I heard. Yeah, so we were at 65. We just went to 80 because the government and the state they took all my profit from last year. They said, my tax lady said I made too much money. Now the government's taking it, so I'm not allowed to make any money, I guess. And we'll see how it goes over the next month or so, because I might not have enough in my account to pay the tax man. But we'll see how it goes. And if that's the case, if I have to work from 8 to 8 every single day and work really hard, slave myself, and I do so that's what they are. They're 130 in Spring Valley, and they're between 150 and 200 and something in Rochester. And people are skeptical. Some people, like new customers, are skeptical. They're like, this guy only charges this much. Are they going to get a good service and good quality repair? And I stand behind all my repairs for a year. And the last one that I had a comeback, I have to think. because I don't remember, but I did have one. So you didn't, maybe it just hasn't kicked in yet and you gotta wait. You gotta wait till next year. Yeah, I don't know. So I just work here by myself, and yeah, maybe I should change. Well, I can't, because then you gotta file. Then I gotta pay. I gotta pay a payroll on myself, which I just do now by quarterly, and they take it out of my account. But yeah, I so people are skeptical. They're like when they come here, but once they find out how good I take care of them and treat their cars, especially if they have a nice car, they tell everybody, and then they come back for everything. Yeah, well, what was it? Only 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I was at $25 an hour working out of my garage, and I was making money then. So I'm just glad Michelle didn't get the panel with the spikes on it yet. Oh yeah, so I'm pretty close to getting my I can't show you yet, but I'm pretty close to getting my chassis ear thing, which I call audio ear. It Bluetooths my phone, and it's I think another week, and I ordered the magnets. I can put the magnets here, magnets back here to like go on to the spindle where your wheel bearing is or something back when I put it on there. Pretty close to getting it done, and it is. I do got a bar graph that shows up on my phone and peak signal. There's just a couple more things like this. This is a power bank, and it wants to shut off after 3 minutes. So I did turn the LED on the little ESP32 jobby I got in there. It's a seed. It's XAIO seed S3. And I put the LED on that. It's still not enough to keep this triggered. So I'm going to put a resistor across my power so it draws more power. And I ain't decided. I think I'm going to start at a 10K resistor and see if that keeps it on. If not, then I'll go down. And if it does keep it on, I'll go back up. But I think another week of development on that, and it's going to be ready. Yep. So I will look into that. I'm going to write that down right now. Got my notepad right here so I can take notes. Got to look back here. Where did you say what kind it was? Phil. It's up here in the comments a ways. Hey Jesse, how you doing? Nice to see you here. Yeah, Jesse is one of my customers, and she's my classmate from way back when. That was a long time ago, wasn't it, Jesse? All right, Phil, what's the cloning tool again? Because I'm looking through my comments, and maybe I'm scrolling too fast. And does it do all modules? For all makes and models, or? It's very rare that I find an ECM that's actually bad. Now, the brake, the one for the brakes, they're always bad, especially on Chrysler's minivans, the brake control module. But that's on the ABS unit itself. All right, I got to go back through the comments. I should have wrote that down. Okay, here it is. I found an OBD star. DC706. So yeah, just for anybody, I'm looking into my phone right now, and that's what we're doing the live feed on. But then I have my computer up right here, and that's where I'm getting my comments. And then over here, like if I walk around the shop, hopefully I can see the comments up on the TV. Yeah, there you go. So my very first live we tried to do with my launch scanner, the X430 Run Pro 3S or whatever it is. So how you doing tonight, Jesse? I'm glad we didn't get no hail, right? And this is the storming done? So are we all done with the storms? I opened my beer, but I haven't even taken a drink yet. It's probably getting warm. All right, so we're done. We're done with the rain then. Well, that's good. I'm assuming we got close to an inch. It really rained hard. So yeah, it looks like we're getting a better turnout than normal tonight. So I can go ahead and stay on. I'm not tired. I guess as long as I'm in by 10, then hopefully Michelle can make me something to eat quick. Yeah, I'm gonna have a more than busy day tomorrow, more than usual, because we scheduled oil changes on a Friday because Saturday was getting too filled up. And I got a Cobra Mustang coming in that needs a belt check over and possibly a wheel bearing. 1, 2, 3, 4 oil changes. So yeah, Friday must have been open. No, I know why Friday turned into oil change day now. It's because the guy with the pickup, it's an F350, but it's a gasser. And I think it's a newer one. But he could only do it on Friday. So I scheduled him earlier this week for Friday, and then that's what made Friday into oil change day. And same with Saturday. So 1, 2, 3 oil changes on Saturday, but then we got the birthday party. All right, Phil. And thanks for stopping by. So Thursday nights, come on Thursday nights, because I want to talk to you some more. It seems like you got some good experience, and your opinion matters. So hopefully you have a good night, Phil. And thanks for stopping by. So yeah, I just want to get to. I love just fixing cars. So if you love fixing cars, or if you have anything about cars, definitely I guess we talk about anything, don't we? But yeah, that's the. I guess I don't know. So the first lives I've ever watched were South Main Auto, and then when I first started thinking about getting on YouTube, I came across Jeff Rose Garage and Fab, and I like going on his lives every Sunday night at 6:30. Oh, there's another round coming. Okay. Well, hopefully it's not bad. Yep, I can hear it starting to rain a little bit right now. I might have to stay in here and clean up the shop because I don't want to get soap going outside. So yeah, this GMC Terrain behind me, I think we're gonna get that mounted back in there. I don't know how the alignment's gonna be, but we're doing the best job we can. And if we have to get it to the alignment shop, we sure will. But I think we're gonna be able to get a couple more years out of it. And like I say, I don't think he would have bought it if his truck wasn't in the shop. No, I don't. And then this truck's gonna have to go back outside in the morning, and I'm gonna have to think about why when that relay is in for the trailer parking lights, that it makes the other lights stay on. But they're all hooked into the body control module, and there's some kind of trailer brake or trailer light control module. I haven't found it yet. It's not in the middle of the dash where they said it was. That's for the trailer brake module. But there's a light module too somewhere for the trailer. And I think it's underneath in front of the gas tank. I seen a module down there that looked kind of funny that I don't know what it is. No, I was just kidding, Michelle. I'll make it in there. So yeah, tonight was about brakes. I got to rant a little bit and show you some of the stuff that I use. And lately I've only been able to do one short video, and we didn't do one this morning because the 2020 Impala was for today, but I got that one done last night. So we were working on the motorhome today, and we had to run to Rochester to get washer fluid. Nope, the radio is not aftermarket. It does have some weird switches in the middle, but my brother told me that they put them in there for like fleet stuff, and they come factory that way. There is a wire tapped into the fuse box on the passenger's kick panel, the side panel. There's a wire tapped into that fuse box. All the fuses are good, which is for the lights. But nobody else they ain't gonna be able to take it to Ford to get it fixed, and I don't think it's too old for Ford to work on. They don't work on older cars anymore. Maybe they will, but it'd be too expensive. There's only one other shop that I know of that I could reference this guy to maybe see what they could do, and that's the last shop I worked at. The owner and the techs there are really smart. There's one person I think I could call to help me, though. Maybe I'll have to call him in. A guy I used to work with, he has some of these Ford trucks, so I think maybe I'll have to call him in. So yep, I think I'm gonna call him. See if he has time. He could come in and take a look at this thing. I know, so I only had a few hours today that I could look at it, and the rest of my next weeks they're pretty booked up. So like I'll film my video on the first car. I'll either take half of it apart, and then I'll come over here quick, and usually I'm waiting for parts in the morning because they don't get here till like 9:30. So that gives me a little bit of time to make a video and edit one before I actually miss out on actually not getting something done on somebody's car. Jay. So I got to call Jay. Jay knows a lot about these. He's got a couple of these trucks, and he just got a city job. He used to work with me, and now he works for a city doing like a smaller town, and he does all the maintenance for everything and stuff like that. Yeah, I was wondering about that Leisure too, but that thing is has heated basements where the pipes are, so as long as you got the furnace on, the pipes will be okay. But last year when we winterized, we did not get the water heater all the way drained, and it blew up, froze and broke. So it's actually a tank. It's a tank water heater. So we found one that's a tankless that fits in the same spot. And we're going to try that because that's one of the things that we thought if we ever modified the bathroom and put a tub in there, we're going to need more hot water than 5 or 6 gallons. So maybe the tankless can keep up to like continuous hot water. I don't know if it can, but we're going to find out because that's what we're doing. I do have a solar water heater set up at home. That thing heats 30 gallons. It can do it in the morning all the way up to 120 degrees. So it's from like 50 degrees to 120. Yeah, so that down at the bottom or underneath the floor, it's what they call a basement, and that's where all your pipes and water tanks are, and gray water tank, and all the tanks are at the bottom, and all the pipes run in the floor. And then it's got two furnaces in it, but the underneath the 20 inches underneath the actual floor, where all the storage is too for like lawn chairs and grills and all that. All them cabinets are sealed. They're not insulated very good, but then the furnace blows that hot. And actually, in the winter, when you're walking on the floor is heated. It's warm, so it's great. Like when we were in there last winter, or when we first bought it, we lived in there towards the end of winter, and it was like 0 degrees out, I suppose, but we had to fill the propane tank, which is a 25-gallon tank, every week. So now I can fill it here off my 1,500-gallon propane tank out back. I bought all the adapters, and I'm brave enough to do it and figure it out. But before, when we first got it, I didn't have the adapters. I didn't know if my tank could do that, and I've never filled the propane tank before. So we were calling the local people to come here, and it was like $45 or $50, and then you got to give them a little bit of a tip. So, but now I fill the tank myself, and I got a hose and got a valve, and I got to wear my gloves when you decouple. When you couple up, it's fine, but decoupling, I didn't have my gloves on, and I froze my hand really bad on the decouple. So I can't fill propane tanks for the grill, but if they got for the forklift, I can fill that tank, and for the motorhome, I can fill it. It's got a bigger coupler on it, and I don't know what they call the coupler, but Amazon, I tried to get it on Amazon, and they didn't ship it out or something, or I don't know, but I got it on eBay and hooked it up, and it's all working. Yeah, so I got all my propane in my tank contracted out for now, and the guy wants his tank back once it gets empty enough he can move it. But I want to buy that tank because that's how my shop runs. So I do have the option to go to natural or get another propane tank or try to buy this tank from the guy that has it. Oh, wow, they do? I don't know what Leisure's talking about. I got a tip for them. Don't bet on the races. Did I miss something? Oh, I missed up here. Well, you guys want to see the broken water? Oh, let's just go over there. It's right in the Ranger. So all this week's recycling is in here. I haven't recycled yet, but here's the water heater. And I'm going to keep this igniter thing and probably this stuff here, the valve. I'm not sure what this is here. And we might need this outside. So this side looks good. This side kind of looks good, but you can kind of see it down here. So I'll flip it over. It blew it right out. And I thought I can weld aluminum. I have a TIG welder, and I'm pretty good at welding aluminum. But this is just too thin. I mean, I know I can weld that. It's thick enough. I can weld it, but I don't think it would be safe. So that's pretty thin. I'd say it's like I don't know how they measure aluminum. So that's like 60 thousandths probably. So it's just over a 16th inch, maybe. Maybe that's what it is, 16th inch. Oh boy. Yeah, that's a major blowout. Yeah, yeah. So I see there's a drain on the outside that we did not drain, but I thought because on the other side where the all the water hookups are and the drain hoses, there's one that says water heater drain, and I drained that. So, but I see there's an actual plug inside underneath the white cover that I opened first. We should have took that. I should have took that out because I was questioning whether or not that water heater had water in it. And I questioned the washing machine that's in there too. So there's a washing machine combo dryer. So hopefully that's not broken because that's an expensive unit. Yeah, so it was $350. Cheaper than the one that actually holds water like a conventional one, or the one like that is like 700. But the tankless one is half the price. And if the tankless one works, that's what we want. Because then we can modify the bathroom. Well, Michelle takes really long showers too. But then we can modify the bathroom and maybe put a little bathtub in there and have enough hot water. So yeah, no, I get it. I dented the thing blew out, and yeah, it dented both ways. Yeah, it's a combo unit, and it works good. It self balances and everything. But we ran it with the high or the low temperature RV fluid, so hopefully that's good. But we're gonna find out. We used it a couple times for actual use, but most of the time we use it, we want to be hooked up to an outside water source because it uses a lot of water. Like if we're using the water off the inside tank, which is I don't know 100, I don't know how many gallons is the inside tank? Is that 150 gallons or is it 100 gallons? Michelle needs a jacuzzi. Yeah, so we gotta. That's the last thing after we get this water heater thing fixed up, and I ordered it. It should be here first thing next week. Yeah, we haven't flushed it out yet, but we better fix this water heater before we find out any more bad news. If there is any bad news, I don't know. So, and then I gotta rotate the tag axle tires are getting a little chopped on the inside or rounded edges on the inside. So I got to rotate them somewhere, and they can't go on the front. So one set of the duals, probably because I don't want to mismatch tires. So those two together will have to go on one side, and then the dual wheels off one side will go back onto the tag axle. So I got to do that. Our batteries ran the whole night the other night, but we weren't running the refrigerator or the furnaces or the air conditioning. But we watched TV and had the lights on battery power the other night, all night long. So we did plug back in because it got cloudy and we drained the batteries down. Yeah, we got to get a steam shower in there, that's for sure. That would be really cool. I think we could take extra room from something else and make a steam shower. So the reason there's not a bathtub, right? So the problem is we can't have a bathtub right where the shower is now because of the wheel well. The shower is right over the wheel well, so they can't go down into the floor, the basement. So we got to move the shower if we're going to put a bathtub in there somewhere other than over the wheels. But that's why we bought it. We got it cheaper. It only had 40-some thousand miles on it. It's got a 6.8 liter Ford. So the V10 Ford. And it runs really good. There's no exhaust leaks and it runs really good. It needs a new fan clutch. Because with the air conditioning on and going up a hill, it runs a little hot. But if I turn the air conditioning off or let off the gas, I know it's the fan clutch because then it cools back down. So I just need a new fan clutch and I need to get a heavy duty one. And that's fairly expensive. And it's way up in there, so Gonna have to work from underneath on that one. Yeah, so ours has the towing package, so they put a tag axle. Ours was built with a tag axle because it has a tow package on it. So dual tires on the drive, and then the tag axle is single. And they're 19-inch tires. And me and Michelle changed them. We put 6 tires on last year, I think, or 4. We changed them by ourselves here in the shop, and we didn't balance them, but it didn't shake or nothing. Yeah, so that's probably where we're gonna have to put it, right there by the slide, or we're gonna have to. So that's what I was getting at. The reason we bought it, we got a little bit cheaper, and we're gonna modify it and make it ours and make it home. We got so many more ideas and stuff we're gonna do to it. Like where the couch is, we're gonna put a couple recliner chairs there and a fireplace. I want to get a propane fireplace or even a real one, but we're probably just gonna go with electric so we don't burn it down. And then I want to shorten up the couch it's got, and then put that where on the other side. And then we got a nice GPS radio in it, an Android one that we finally got working because it was on kilometers, but there's a secret code I had to put into a setting menu, and then I switched it to miles per hour, which made me happy. Yeah, she drives it really, really hard and really fast, and it scares the hell out of me when she's driving. But she can drive it and she can handle it, and she does a good job. But I'm like, what? She's the same way. So when the other person is driving, it scares the hell out of us. Like we're both backseat drivers. Like I'm like, you should slow down or you should be more cautious. And sometimes Michelle's the opposite way. If me, she's like, maybe you should speed up. But yeah, we put on some miles last year. We went to Indianapolis and watched the 500. Well, I don't think anything intimidates Michelle. She's very strong-willed, and I know what intimidates Michelle. My van and the brakes. She don't like my van and the brakes. It's just old brakes and that thing, but it stops for me. Yeah, well, I'm not used to driving that thing, and I get over a little bit. I just need to be like, it takes up the whole lane, so I need to be more. Yeah, I do hit the rumble strips. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't like to wear my seatbelt. I don't never wear my seatbelt. Back in the day, we never wore seatbelts, but no. No, it has brakes. I think you should try it. Take it for a drive again. Yeah, so I started it up, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and it sat all winter, and it started right up. I didn't have to put the charger on or nothing. I did have to pump the gas pedal a few times. It's from 1979, and it's got a Quadrajet, and it's never been rebuilt, ever. And it probably needs a fuel pump. I've never put a fuel pump on it either. Now, the fuel pump could have been replaced before, but I don't know. I think it's pretty low miles, and it was parked for a while. And I put a master cylinder on off a 76 Chevy pickup that was discarded, but it came back to life because my master cylinder went bad. It was leaking. Yeah, see, Leisure knows what he's talking about. That's just how Chevys are. I mean, older ones. That's funny. Yeah, you get used to it. They don't. You can't trust it. Sometimes you might not have brakes. I was in a race car one night and I lost my brakes. I was riding. Know what happened? I got forced down to the inside, and there's a big old berm there from the grader that went around, and I went right through the middle of it, and I got nylon brake lines, and it ripped one of them off. But I was able to race pretty well. I mean, I don't know if I passed anybody, but I don't think anybody passed me, but I didn't have no brakes. Nothing. I just made sure the engine was revved up high enough to slow me down. Yeah, it was harder setting up for the corner, and I had to use the throttle more to race it. Yeah, I'm turning that van into the A-Team van. Hopefully someday that's what I would love to do. And then the modified, my number's 01, but my new colors, it's red and black, you know, and it's 01. But my new colors are orange and black. So 01 and orange. What does that tell you? And then we'll put it on the car trailer. So we'll have the A-Team van pulling the General Lee. So that's one of the things how me and Michelle met was she thought she was older than me, and I'm like, I'm pretty old. Yeah, Michelle's actually 29. So yeah, it's starting to rain again now. And I think I'm gonna call it for tonight. So Tuesdays, I'm thinking about having one on Portrait Tech Tip Tuesdays or something like that. Yeah, I'm not much older than she is. But she gave me a hint of how old she was before I said that. And I'm like, well, I'll debate you how old. You want to go debate our age? And she came over to my shop, and that was before we were going out. But yeah, I'm thinking about Tuesdays and trying it in a portrait style. So I make the short feed and see if that I could get some more followers. And I didn't get a video today to let people know that I was having a live feed. Like, I like to put that in my short because we worked ahead. I did today's cars last night because we needed to fix that water heater. So I just worked, and the customer even came and got his car that same night. And then he was back today. He wants me to fix one of his other cars. The shock has broke off, a Suburban. So he came in today and he showed me some pictures, and I asked him how his brakes were, and he's like, they're like butter. So he was happy, and he always goes to the dealer, but hopefully I win him over. That'd be great. I like working on nicer cars. Lately, it's been a lot of rusty cars. Oh, it's terrible, terrible, terrible. I don't know. I'll get 2 nice cars in here a week, but the rest will be super rusty. So, yep, I think I'm gonna call her in Rust We Trust. Yep. I always love your sayings, and I'm gonna get them all down. And if I use one and I remember that you told me that, I'm gonna give you some credit for it if you don't mind. But Michelle likes Thirsty Thursdays. She's like, I gotta put the title for this on because I still haven't figured out how to pre-do it yet. And then the very first one I did was in portrait mode, so I had to stop that because Michelle's like, you're in the wrong mode. So then I had to start over. But I wish I could do like put in my description and my title and put a note, let you guys know ahead of time. But I ain't figured that out yet. So hopefully I will pretty soon. But I'm calling her tonight. It's just past 9:30, and I probably need to have a snack before bedtime and clean up. So I will thank all you guys for coming. That's pretty great. We had a better showing tonight. I think it's the best one yet. So yeah, maybe this next Tuesday we'll have one on the portrait. Yeah, have a good night, Leisure. Thanks for coming. All right, I'm shutting you guys off.